Yeah, no problem, man. We'll get going here, guys, shortly. Get going here in 2 minutes, guys. All right, let's get rock and rolling, guys. Today we're going to be talking about your website and why it could be killing your sales. And more importantly, how do we fix this particular problem? So, common misconceptions that we have, all right, that I see quite often is if I have a site, I'm covered, all right? The reality is a bad website can actually drive customers away. It's more than just a business card. All right, so we want to keep that in mind. Having a bad website or a website that doesn't, fully explain your services and your offer, all right, is actually going to drive away, customers that you would have otherwise converted. Okay, and in order to really understand the importance of having a decent website, all right, we have to understand what the real cost of a bad website is. All right, so bad website, slow load times, all right, equals high bounce rates. Lost leads, lost revenue, poor design equals low trust. Okay, so 42% of visitors leave a site that takes over 3 seconds to load. Okay, and I just want you to think about this while you guys have probably been on some bad websites. How long does it take you to, point away from it? Okay, so again, we want to kind of point out some bad websites and bad website design. All right, trying to put too much information in, and I see that quite a bit. And try to get everything that you do and more is it's going to lead to obviously a high bounce rate, right? So we're confusing navigation, frustrating your customers. No clear call to action, no CTA, all right? Outdated info or missing reviews. Okay, these are low hanging fruits. These are things that most customers are looking for immediately nowadays. All right, and I want you to think about your website as actually being a individual salesperson. All right, so having a good quality website, a website works for you 24/7. It makes actually it can be your best closer, right? So most people, what they do is when they are seeking out a contractor, looking for a contractor, do you think that they go to their website? You think they check for reviews? Absolutely. And we can definitely prove that, time and time again. Right? So we want to show real projects reviews and guarantees. Right? Every page should have an answer why choose us. Okay? 63% of consumers need to see trust signals before contacting. All right. So again, having your Google reviews show up, provided that they're good in your website, a very good idea. If you can go one step further and have customer testimonials, also a very good idea. So we want to immediately be presenting trust signals with our customers. Any organizations or anything that you're a part of, okay, you want to make sure that those are clearly displayed and easy to navigate to, right? We want to clarify your core services. Again, um, what I see most often with websites and most contractors is that they aren't placing their core services first, right? They're trying to list everything they do under the sun, when a little bit of research would show that, hey, there's 100 searches for some of the things that you have on your website that you're claiming that you do. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have our core services front and center and clear. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have other pages that could link to it, but ultimately, it's got to be very, very clear to anybody that gets on your website exactly what you do. Okay? List only your main specialties. Don't try to be everything. And again, I'm going to stress this over and over again. I see it, and I've done it myself, all right? And I know what the repercussions of. Sometimes less is more, right? Clear, focused messaging equals more qualified leads. All right, we want people coming in seeing exactly what they're looking for, all right, and then having a clear call to action to have them move into an actual lead. Okay. Streamlining your website's navigation. So again, if you guys have a website, all right, I want you to really think about what I'm suggesting here. Even pull up your website while we're on this call, all right, and ask yourself, is your navigation simple and easy to navigate? All right, less confusion. Right? Top 3 to 5 pages only. Home services, about, reviews, and contact us. Right? Versus having a whole bunch of additional options that people won't click on. All right. Now, again, there's, a good website design will allow them to, dig deeper into your website, but you want whatever is going to turn into a lead and what people are looking for directly to be front and center, right? So 70% of small business sites have too many menu items. Okay. So again, on this theme of less is more, and again, trying to be very specific with what it is that you offer in your core, right? Oh, Greg, there's your website, right? Make your CTA unmissable, right? So every page needs a clear next step, call, book, or request a quote. Every page. I mean, ultimately, you need to get people to take an action, all right? Just lambasting them with information, not highly effective these days. All right, most people aren't going to read your content either. What we have to keep in mind is that they're scanning through the website. Okay, so again, making it very easy for them to request a quote or to find the information they're looking for, super important. Okay, adding a CTA button increases conversion by 45%. Okay, now when we add them to every page, all right, as you can imagine, it increases our opportunity to sell. Okay, another thing, especially for trade contractors, we want to show our licenses, insurance certificates, and again, adding real customer reviews. If you're linking your Google reviews into your website, that's a very wise move for you. It allows them to get the trust signals from you and make a decision to get a quote or not, right? 92% of customers read online reviews of local businesses. Okay, so again, very wise, good for your SEO as well, is if we are including those items. Okay. Next, and if you guys have your website in your phone, or if you have your phone on right now, I want you to pull your website up, okay, and see how mobile friendly it is. All right, I feel like this should be a website 101, but still to this day, I see many websites that aren't fully optimized. All right, so not being optimized, all right, is going to lead to some serious bounces. All right, most 90% of searches or something like that are done on mobile now. All right, over 60% of contractors' sites visits are mobile. Okay. Bad mobile equals bad design equals lost leads. Okay, so if your phone, if you can't pull your website up and navigate through it on your phone, it's time to definitely improve your website. Okay. Another easy, quick win here, guys. Speed does sell, just like our speed to lead. We all know that a lot of what we do is focused on that speed to lead, but optimizing your load times. Okay. One thing that you'll discover, and if you have a good website person, is those 4K videos and all of that content actually slows down a lot of your load times and costs you a lot of visitors. All right, so we don't want to overdo it with those kind of videos or graphics. All right, we want to make sure that we have all good load time. Right, so 1 second delay equals 7% loss conversion. Right, compress your images, limit your plugins, use fast hosting. Hey, before I go any further, does anyone have any questions about what we've gone through here? I know I'm going a little bit quick, so I want to make sure that everybody's getting a chance to understand what we're talking about here. No? All good? Okay. All right. So once again, a very important thing, guys, show real work, not stock photos. All right. Um, People can spot stock photos from a mile away. All right. We want to show our real projects. Use your own project photos and team shots. Please don't use Google or allow your web developer or web designer to put in other people's images or stock images. Okay. Nothing kills trust more than using phony or fake images, and you can kind of spot them from a mile away, right? Sites with real images get 35% more clicks. Okay. More importantly, again, if you are in charge of your own website or if you have a website developer, I'm seeing this, actually coming back as being a problem. All right, and a couple of websites that we've looked at recently use a lot of technical talk. All right, use a lot of jargon. We want to be writing at like a grade 7 or a grade 8 level. All right, and we want to make sure that we're not being over technical because your customer doesn't understand those terms. Okay. So we want to avoid jargons, write like you talk to customers, short sentences and big fonts, right? And again, like I was saying earlier, 79% of users scan. They don't read your web pages. So again, putting front and center the information that they want with the graphics that make sense is a signature of a great website design. Okay. I think I was talking to Greg about this earlier. Tracking your results. All right, we don't need to guess at these things. We have, for our clients, we set up Google Analytics. All right, we can see the traffic. We can see all of the, important data points to understand what we need to optimize and, what we are looking for in our website and if it's effective or not. Okay. And I don't think most contractors take advantage of this opportunity, or at least have it in a way that they can view it. Even if you have someone doing this work, which I do suggest, I don't recommend any contractors unless you have very considerable design skills, right? That they're doing their own websites. It very rarely works out well. What I recommend is that you do, however, understand your data. All right, you do have it connected with Google Analytics or a very good data analytics software where you're actually reviewing this as a part of your marketing plan. Okay, we spend a lot of money on these websites, and a lot of times what ends up happening is they become things that people never see, and that's an absolute shame to me. And if you're not tracking, you won't actually know. Okay, so track your calls, forums fills, and page visits. Only 30% of contractors actually track website leads, which is a pretty scary thing to think about. We should be tracking every lead that we get. Otherwise, how would we know what's working and what's not? All right, we want to leverage the AI Mentor, the 90-day training program. Oh, this is also something that we offer, so we can get your step-by-step website improvement plan. We can also help build your websites and develop them so that they are AI optimized, which is becoming a very big thing. All right, we'll actually give you full access to all of our templates and checklists if you're wishing to do these things on your own. At the end of this call, we'll be opening that up, and you can anybody that is looking to do their own websites. We will give you all the templates and checklists and help you out as much as we can. Out of curiosity, is there anybody here that is managing or building their own websites? Anybody here? Give me a one in the chat if you're too shy to unmute yourself. Okay. All right. So we want to focus on some real world examples. Contractor narrowed services update site leads by up to 50%. So again, in terms of having your website do the work for you and be a new source for leads, one of the biggest things that we're seeing right now is actually AI optimizing websites. All right. So I don't know how many of you guys have recently been on Google, but you will see that there is an AI mode there. Okay. Now this is good for some and really bad for others, especially if you're trying to come up, in the search columns. All right. But we want to start to think about our websites as information sources for AI to pull from. Okay. It means that the content that we write as well has to change. Okay. It has to be more direct informational. We have some templates and stuff we're going to share for getting them AI optimized, where ChatGPT may be able to reference your website. Okay, and I think that this will be a very growing thing into the future. In fact, we're already seeing it. There's been a big shift. All right, I don't believe SEO or anything else is dead. I believe that the way that content is found will change pretty dramatically. So we do want to make sure that we are SEO optimizing our website still with the new AEO optimizations. Okay. So, what's one thing you'll change on your website this week? Is there anybody here willing to change anything in their website? Okay. Okay. So, in talking about websites, I want to take a little bit of time here and yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the SEO and the AEO features. Okay, so again, provided that you have a good website design, provided that you've covered the basics of what we've discussed today. All right. The new AEO optimizations, what we're seeing again is that you want to make pages dedicated to your specific offers. And the way that that AEO works ultimately is, think of your ChatGPT, a large language model. It was trained on articles, all right? So Wikipedia articles, things like that, that it uses in its data points. The trick to getting yourself listed there, all right, is to write your articles in a way that is informative, all right? So unlike SEO, where you're packing keywords into your content, all right? And there was obviously other SEO strategies which I won't get too far into, but now we need to make sure that the articles that we're writing are based in what a human would say. Okay, just like when ChatGPT is looking for information, we want to make sure that that is front and center. So a good example of this, thought that I had it here. Mm, yeah, so I don't have the example directly with me. It will be in the attachments that we share. All right, but you can also include a chatbot in your website. So again, how many of you guys have got a chatbot on your website here? Anybody using a chatbot? Greg, I know you are. A few of our clients are. Not yet. Okay. So again, if ever there were a place that we want to take advantage of chatbots, is definitely your website and capturing leads. But the trick with that is if you have a chatbot, even with us, all right, that you have what we call a knowledge base. Okay. So we're finding these, we've been testing them out for a while, but when customers are coming and asking technical questions or asking information, all right, that you have you have considered that, those top 10, 15, 20 questions, okay, and that you can actually use a chatbot with a knowledge base. All right, so it can recover or recall, particular things. Maybe your cabinet sizes. Let's just say for Mario's sake, right? Obviously the essentials, your time that you're open, all of those things. But you can also use actual like content that they would be searching for. All right. One of the ways to really kind of narrow this down, all right, is ask the public. All right. So if you're unsure of what the commonly answered questions are, okay, again, you can track them yourself. What are your customers asking you when you take in a new lead? What are those type of questions are? Or you can use the website Ask the Public, where you can search a particular term and you will see exactly what people are Googling. All right. My suggestion is that you
And
teach
they
your
just came and
chatbot.
knocked our garbage
Oh,
cans over.
hold on a sec. My suggestion there as you're loading information and getting your commonly answered questions, is that we're actually using um, the content from there, all right, and we're answering those questions up front, both in our website design, in our articles, but also in your chatbot, because people won't search through your website to find those things. All right. A lot of times they will just go to that, to the chatbot, especially if it's popping up. All right. And if they can ask, any question they want and it has a generally good answer, you'll see a much, much higher conversion rate there. Okay. Anybody know what the difference of a site that uses a chatbot versus a site that doesn't? Probably not, right? They're saying right now it's about a 35% difference in conversion, right? So pretty important. Okay,
I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
I see it on my own. If I go on a website that has a chatbot, I
Hmm.
chat with it instead of looking for information. I could just ask the bot, and I get
Absolutely.
there much faster.
Guys, have I not been sharing my screen this whole time?
No, you're sharing. You're sharing.
Okay, okay, good. I just thought for a second I hadn't shared. Yeah, cool. So, and again, we want to think about these chatbots like they're becoming more and more advanced, especially again, if you connected it with a pretty wide source um, knowledge base. You can have this doing customer service. You can have it doing a whole bunch of things that before we couldn't necessarily do, right? So my recommendation for everyone here is get your top 10 most commonly asked questions. All right, we can do that research. If you struggle with that, let us know. We can help you out and pointing in the right direction and give you the step by step for that. But super important that we are thinking like our customers search. Okay, if we're answering those questions, again, it's going to help with your SEO. It's also going to help with building out those chatbots, having a good solid plan for being listed in the AEO or any of the large language search engines, which are becoming basically the new Google. All right. Even Google is now referencing it. And again, you can use it for more than just, capturing leads. We can use it for customer service. We can use it for, answering technical questions. We can use it for all types of different things, right? So again, I highly recommend them. If you don't have one or if you want to get one, let us know. We can certainly help you out with that. Again, in terms of the design, I don't recommend any contractor unless you've got the skills does it. All right. And you know, making sure that we have good call to actions on our website. Okay. So, any questions so far? You guys are pretty easy today. I take it everyone has a beautiful website then. Yes?
I mean, there's
Right.
a ton of work that could be done, but one problem at a time for me.
Right. 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 So, I mean, again, one of the ways that I was recommending earlier about checking your analytics, all right, is don't you don't have to fix something that's not broken, all right? So if you're successfully capturing leads, all right, and you've got a decent conversion on your website, and you would know that through your analytics and through your Google Analytics, all right, then you're in good shape. But if you're reviewing those analytics and you're seeing a very high bounce rate, that's going to be your signature sign that you need to make a change, right? So again, like I said, the worst thing that can happen is a customer that was searching for you lands on your website and then decides not to be a customer of yours because of the website. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're eliminating that at all costs. Again, if you have a very outdated website, if you have confusing information, these are the kind of things that we want to get rid of. At that point, it's almost better not to have a website. Although I don't know how much I would recommend that, but you certainly want to make a small investment in getting a decent setup for your website. Does anybody here not have a website at all? No? Everybody? Okay, right on. So, again, guys, wanted to keep this one really simple. I flew through that. So, if nobody has any questions, I'm going to go snowmobiling. Made it too easy today. All right, guys. Appreciate all your time. We'll talk to you later. Take
Have
care.
fun, be safe.
Yeah, for sure. Bye.
Jay, was there anything in the chat there that somebody had a question?
Oh, aside from testimonials, what are the other ways to demonstrate credibility with license warranties, reviews, and certifications? Yeah, I mean, again, the number one way is going to be your Google reviews, having those front and center. Number two is going to be your project photos, all right, of your actual work. If you can add videos, all right, a video testimonial will, trump all of those things. All right. The key is to have it in a place where people will be immediately navigating to, and kind of keeping in mind that people aren't reading all of your content. All right, that's more of been an SEO thing up to this point. So we want to make sure that our website design is very clean and easy to navigate, and that we're including those things on the most important pages. So, for example, on your lead form page, we're going to add the license certificates there and all of the trust signals that you have. Okay. So again, that's the best place to put them. I don't see any other questions here unless I missed one. Nope, that's it. All right, snowmobiling time. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.